moving on to the second of the special 2-day wagers, daily double for Saturday and Sunday for California Crown. And these are the big races here for the weekend. The Grade One California Crown Stakes. It's the old Goodwood. If you were looking at these old Breeders' Cup races from Santa Anita, well, they upped the purse. You got $1 million on the line, coinciding with the Zenyatta for Sunday and another 2-day daily double. Again, 15% takeout, $5 minimum. I love those big minimums, PTF. How are you going to attack this double?
Yeah, I like them too. They actually help you in a subtle way, I think, by making you be a bit more decisive at times. I think they thwart some of the computer betting that you'll sometimes see when bets just get made. When the lower the minimum, the more efficient the CAWs are able to play these bets, and it actually, in a contrarian way, works against the interests of the casual player. So the high minimum, low takeout is just a great combo for players, not unlike the other one. I want to try to be a little bit surgical here. There are other pools where I'm going to be doing some spreading, but here I'm going to take a Noah's Ark approach. What do I mean by that? I'm going 2x2, my friend. And in the Cal Crowd itself, in this pool, I'm going to be master of the obvious, I'm afraid. I think the two Bafferts kind of have an opportunity to slow this down on the front end and turn it into a bit of a match race. That's number 3, National Treasure, and number 5, Muth. National Treasure was so bad in the Whitney, and Jock was Pratt, actually. In another video, I said John Velasquez. Oops. Flavian Pratt said after the race, the horse was just absolutely empty. But boy, if he gets back to his good races on pace figures, could be loose and lonely on the lead. Very obvious A-level contender to me. But Muth to me is a horse on the rise. I didn't think he looked awesome in the shared belief, but I think that was also a starting point. I think he can step up off that late season 3-year-old. If he has improved, if he was really short for that last run and has now improved and can step up on the figures he was running the spring, second off the layoff, they might all be running for second, including National Treasure, unless he's on his absolute peak form. I'll use those two. I'll hit Muth an extra time because I do prefer him of the two Baffert runners in this spot. And then in Sunday's Zenyatta, the main one I want is number 5, Desert Dawn. I will play a smaller backup to the 2 Flying Connection. But number 5, Desert Dawn, just a cool mare I've always liked. Hard trying, Arizona bred, massive class release here with Adair Manor having retired and Scylla not in the entries. Seemed like ground loss really mattered on Pack Classic Day. They really played to speed. This one was far back and wide. Looking at a pace map here, this could be a situation where this usual closer is invited into the race a little bit earlier than usual. I think it's a great situation. Second off the layoff. She's improved massively in a couple of the other times she was second off the layoff. She does that here. Desert Dawn going to take an awful lot of beating. Flying Collection did it again. Flying Connection has her on the form book and is one drawn inside. I will use as a little backup, but I will have multiple times with Desert Dawn in this spot. So we're going to play sort of weighted 2x2 doubles here in this second of the two-day bets, doubles we're talking about in this segment. What did you think?
I like your approach. I'm going to just do it a little backwards here since you mentioned Desert Dawn. I do like her here a lot. I do think it's going to be her day, and she gets the right bunch here, I think. Definitely has been knocking at the door in these Grade 1 races recently. I do think she's the main player. You get Rispoli, second off the bench, supposed to beat these horses. Now, just doesn't win very much. 3 for 22 lifetime, but if you look, has faced Idiomatic, has faced Adair Manor several times. Sweet S Teco came out here and blasted, a field back in March. So she needs the right trip, but I do think she's fast enough. If I were to back up, I might try a horse that's a little stranger. The one Alpha Bella. Comes in now, was with Pletcher, now goes to Sadler, has plenty of numbers on the grass that fit versus these. Well, if you look back to this horse's last dirt start, it was August 10th at Saratoga, rained off, that was last year, rained off the grass, galloped by 22 lengths. Now, beat one horse in that race, but certainly handled the dirt. I would use those two in the second half of that double. Now, as far as the Saturday race, that big California Crown, surprise, no Senor Buscador. I mean, that's your boy. I don't know why you didn't use that horse in this race. Agree on National Treasure. I do think that one is very live in this race. I mean, his A race beats these horses. You look back to the Met Mile. His Pegasus was a monster race, and I'm not sure that the Saudi race really did him any favors, but I do think that his best getting back home can beat these horses. If I were going to back up in this one, I would use the 2 Sub Sanador. It's Mandela. This horse fits versus these horses. Look back to the big cap in March. This horse was ahead from beating Newgate there, when on the front the entire way. Then shipped recently to Monmouth and was off the pace and was able to win. Now that was not as good a field as this, but I do like the versatility. I like the fact that they shipped the horse, so he must be in decent form, and then they show up in this spot. If anybody's going to beat the Baffert horses, I do think it's Mandela and the 2 Sub Sanador. So I do think National Treasure is definitely a worthy favorite. I'm going to be against Muth here. I think he needs to prove it to me. Now he could take that step forward, but I don't know. He's going to take a lot more money than I want. So I would say National Treasure, a little Sub Sanador, and then use Desert Dawn heavy on day 2, and maybe just for a buck or two, Alpha Bella.